But let's talk about these solo waves, all right? Let's go look real quick at our faction store. We got a whole bunch of new stuff. We went over it over the weekend. A lot of the new claims and things that are in here. Some of these new benefits, things you'll probably work on later once you get some of the other techs and stuff unlocked. Friendly reminder that some of these techs do have building requirements. So depending on the ops level of your artifact gallery, just double check to make sure that you can actually use it before you go ahead and get it. My artifact gallery is only level 55 currently. We're working our way up, but some of these uh, G6 related ones, like Amelia Earhart's plane, that'll make my ships cheaper, requires artifact gallery 61. So it would behoove me to focus on a different one instead. There may be other ones that have other locks at 55, like maybe the Lerpa or something like that, might have other ops restrictions. So just double check before you go buying something that you can actually use it. We were talking about the damage and the favors and things because, there, of course, there are a whole bunch of new solo favors that are available. You can see them listed over here. They're down here toward the bottom. Um, we the patch notes did mention something about this refinery overhaul and shadow market stuff. And we thought, like, yay, we're finally getting like a bonus refinery to convert ship parts like we just got for other parts. Naturally, because ship parts are such a monetization focal point for Scopely, now the ability to trade them in will become a monetization point. 21,000 of the new currency is what you need for each one. You have to unlock them all individually. So if you want to be able to trade in ship parts, trade other types into explorer parts, it'll cost you 21,000 of the new currency. So you're buying the one to get the parts you want to trade into. So keep that in mind. The other favors in here that are helpful are, first off, we do have the Apex Shred ones. They improve your damage output that gets through all the mitigation, and it's high mitigation. We're going to look at a battle log in a second. And they're five tiered. So it's going to take a while to work yourself through those, especially if you also want these. Probably going to be some people buying some packs to get some more of this stuff to get through this faster. But this is what's going to get through their apex barrier, and it's high. It is very high, their apex barrier. So you're going to need to work some of this stuff down. Um, and then you have a couple of these other ones. The right connections. This one makes your older content now cheaper. Lowers the cost efficient or improves the cost efficiency of mirror credits, and this one improves the cost efficiency of the regular credits. So your other things above, your other older officers, some of your syndicate turn-ins and dolomite particles and things that are taking your older currency will get cheaper through a couple of those refinery options. This one here also gives you more reputation from your arena claim. But again, these are 28,000 apiece. Going to take a while to save up for that. Check the value on them. Let's see where we're at. Emperor's Edict. 10%. It is a 10% cost reduction. So instead of costing me 700 credits a day to do my dolomite particles, it'll cost me 630. Instead of costing me 2,200 to do my syndicate XP, it'll cost me about 2,000. If you want to do the mirror syndicate XP one, where's that one? It's up higher. They reorganized everything too, which I don't like. So instead of costing this being 1,200, it'll cost 1080. So it's a savings. Not exactly a tremendous savings though. It's a little disappointing. I agree. I agree. That's a little disappointing. Your other PvP officers are in here now, of course, as well as like we just talked about, the ability to do your conversions. There's also a refinery payout bonus that gives you more broken ship parts. It just says level one. Increases payout of all broken ship parts. Oh, payout of all broken ship parts to battleship part refineries. So when you're converting your broken parts into your normal parts, you'll get what? An extra roll. I'm guessing is what that means. Okay, so that'll save you some. So when you're coming in here and you're doing your ship part conversions, instead of, is it going to give you an extra chest? That's what it seems like from that description. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Am I reading that wrong? But that's what it looks like it does. And obviously you'll need one for each type of part. Increases payout of all broken ship part to interceptor ship part refineries. So either it's you're either going to get an extra roll in the chest, or it's going to change the values, and they're just going to be higher numbers. It would make more sense based on this just being a one here that you're just going to get an extra roll. But I don't have any of these yet, of course, because it's brand new. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see when somebody unlocks one of them what actually happened. All right. Before we jump in and do a wave, I do want to share a couple screenshots that I grabbed from earlier. First off is the actual schematic of how the waves spawn here. I know it's not the easiest thing to see, so let's zoom in a little bit here if we can. So all of the waves have the same format that they take, and shout out to Sanguinator and Jules Verne for putting this thing together. So when you're doing your solo wave, each wave has 6 hostiles that spawn. There's no surveys or anything like that. They all have 6 hostiles. They spawn at various points, and as you can see, some of them spawn pretty close to the center. But there is a way, obviously, to sort of get it down to a science after you get more comfortable with it. You know, you'll be able to sort of predict, know where you need to be already on the move to, or, you know, let this hostile get closer so that way when you kill it, you're then immediately wave 2, you're right there to then pick up this next hostile right away. That kind of thing. It's only 5 waves that you have to get through in these. And thank you again for the little blueprint here. I don't know if it'll make it onto a mouse pad for somebody for a content creator giveaway or something, but that's a good piece of advice there. I'll leave that up in case you want to screenshot it or something. Obviously, it's on a bunch of different Discord servers already, so that's what your schematic is going to look like. The only difference between the different tiers of which system you go into are the strength of these hostiles, but the spawn points are identical in all 3 from what I understand. All 3 different versions, whether it's the 45s, the 50s, or the 60s, they spawn exactly the same. Now, as for the hostiles that you're going to take on, first off, Laliari's ability does work. You can see it right here triggering, giving you more Apex Barrier. And the biggest takeaway from this, watching these early fights, is one, they do a lot of isolatic damage themselves. So anything you can do to boost your own isolatic defense, people like Pelia below deck may be very helpful with that, and any other research and artifacts and things like that that you can get done, because obviously this thing here is, you know, throwing out a little bit of base damage and a big chunk of isolytic. This was a screenshot I grabbed from Rev earlier. You can see the top of his head right there from his when he was doing it. But my biggest takeaway from this is the damage he shot at them, because he did about 80 million damage right here between standard and isolytic. The base mitigation was pretty low. Only 5 million of that 33 million got absorbed. That's really low. So that's working with the triangle. That's, you know, about 18-20%. Not a very good amount being mitigated by that. Right? Where's the calculator? Where's Mr. Calculator? So if it only blocked 5573, 769, It blocked 17%. That's just basic mitigation value. It's the next one that's the huge one, the isolytic damage. 42.5 million isolytic damage mitigated of the 48 million that he did. So right away, 90% of his isolytic damage got ignored. And then normally you'd be like, okay, well, at least I got through a bunch of my regular damage. I got through 80% of my regular damage. Well, now here comes the apex barrier. And that's going to absorb 90% of what's left. So he shot 80 million damage at this hostile. 1.5 million of it made it to the shields, and only 375,000 actually made it to the hull. That's it. 80 million damage got reduced down to less than 2 million. Plus 376, 181. 1835029 is what got through. Divided by, we'll call it 80 million. Just over 2%. Just over 2% of the damage made it through. Now I know what you're all thinking. You need Apex Shred, right? Of course, that's the new mechanic they just put in. Well, Rev went and got the first level of Apex Shred right here. It didn't really help all that much. Because this is 52 million damage that time he shot. This is still the cube? No, this was the Sompek earlier. So this is the cube. The cube shot 52 million damage. Well, base mitigation, 2 million of it went away. The isolytic absorbed 37 of the 42. So a big chunk of it went away. It's because I'm zoomed in. You can't quite see over here all the way, but... And then Apex Barrier still absorbed a huge chunk of what's left. So again, he did 50 million damage, 52 million, and only 955,000 made it to the hull. So just about a million of it made it to the hull out of 52 million, which is still about 2%. So that base 40% shred doesn't seem like it did anything. Now, the number of rounds in the fight seemed like it went down. But I'll be honest, the battle log here isn't really showing that. And that's the interesting part about this. To me, the most interesting part about this is the new wrinkle, right? This is the new obstacle and hurdle. In addition to the fact that there's, 6 waves or 5 waves and there's 6 hostiles and you've got 3 ships and they spawn fairly close. You're not getting the big lead in time where they start way off the map and slowly crawl their way in. A couple of them are, but then you get a couple of them that start really close to the center. They're already halfway there. So if you're on the other side of the system, you're not going to have time to fly over there and pick them up. So there's not a lot of time. So look at this one. This thing is spawning right next to it. Like if you're not waiting for this one when it spawns, this one's going to hit the base. And you can only let 3 get through before you lose. There's 30 total hostiles. Only 3 of them are allowed to get through. And this one's spawning basically right next to it. And then you factor in that you're not doing a whole lot of damage to these things either. So you either have to just muscle your way through it and be able to mitigate as much of their damage coming back. So that way the fight can take longer. And that's where things like, the hull repair that you're getting and possibly any shield repair that you might have from some of these other, modifications, not the DTI building, in the Nova squadron, some of these researches that are giving you extra shield health repair for having morale and stuff like that. That's going to make you last longer because they're hitting you hard just as much. So what's up, James Bond? Denver Stone says your shred did not work. You went from 94% barrier to 92% barrier. I think it's broken. Someone on DJ's Discord mentioned earlier the shred math seems to be wrong. Yeah, I'm right now. The shred math doesn't seem to be doing anything. So I think there's probably maybe that'll be something else they fix in the next patch. Um, I hope so because what's right there, we just looked at it right before and after. It didn't seem like it really did anything. So we'll have to see if that's going to get fixed or updated. But we're going to try and go crew up and do a solo wave right now. Based on the information we've gathered earlier today, I'm going to pull this over to the side so I can keep this in mind. And I'll need the map in a minute anyway. So if they're doing a lot of isolytic damage. They're doing a lot of barrier. You know, they have a lot of barrier. I don't really have anything that's going to help with that. Um, did they do the extra maintenance already? No, they postponed it because they probably don't know necessarily how to fix everything yet. And they're going to work on that tonight and tomorrow. Then, we'll get an additional maintenance in the next day or two. So, what's going on, Mord? Welcome on in. Thank you for doing your stream this morning. It was very enlightening to kind of get a glimpse of that. Also, Dr. Iron Chef, thank you very much for the 100 bits and welcome in. Thank you for hosting last night. Sorry I couldn't stick around longer. Me and my nose whistle had to get off to bed. And what? Ice Wolf's here too. Okay, Kellum's here. Okay, welcome in, everybody. Gen X is here too. Welcome on in. Okay, thanks for making sure. Floyd and Hollywood are here now. Okay. Floyd, as you suspected, these soldiers are difficult to. Didn't get past the second wave of level 45s, not because ships died, but because 3 hostiles got through. This will lead to another arc of being unable to finish the mission chain. Is that was something? Is there a requirement in the missions? I haven't looked at the missions yet. But we go into the holodeck, I guess. There are the new missions right here, and I'm sure one of them will probably end up leading to you having to do a wave, I guess, right? Chris says at level 0 shred, the hostile had 186,000 apex barrier. At level 3 shred, it was down to only 96,000 barrier. So maybe that's a thing. Maybe I'm misunderstanding how apex barrier works, and it's just another level of like shielding. So it's only going to absorb damage for so long. It's not like a mitigation level that's absorbing damage that's just erasing it. It's more like an extra level of a shield that's taking it away. Hmm. All right. All right, but let's think about some crewing options here. So normally this is what I would just use, and I would just run through everything. I do need to put... Oh, I got Felon. What do you do? Rep gain as an officer. More protected cargo below deck. Okay. The missions do lead into the loop. Yeah, I'm sure that they would there. That's not a surprise there. 9-hour streaming. Oh my. So we're going to put Harry Kim in there to make sure we get that going. I don't need you with this group. Ta'ana only works against other players. Maybe we just take Dane for a little extra impulse speed in case I have to chase anybody. All right. Crew number 2. I don't even know what we would use here. Because all my crews are kind of, I mean, everything they built the last few months is all based around isolytic damage, right? And now they're basically taking isolytic damage away. And it's not mitigating much with its base value, so therefore, things that boost, like piercing stats and things wouldn't be very effective. Gorkon Lorca. Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think of what else to use here. 'Cause none of you guys are going to be helpful. Well, let's do this by process of elimination. What are we going to take? We're going to take the cube. So I'd want burning for that. I might need to chase stuff down a little faster. You never know. You can have the apex barrier, I guess. Nobody else really does anything. You've got some mitigation here from him. I don't need Khan if I have her. Do we just take Janeway for some extra damage, even though most of it's going to get blocked? You don't understand why I'm saying Isolytic is gone? Shred just removed Apex. So if you look at the battle log, Ice Wolf, if you haven't seen one of these yet, deals 47 million isolytic damage, mitigates 42.5 million isolytic damage. It mitigates 90% of the isolytic damage that you shoot at it. That's its special ability. So just take isolytic and just throw it out the window. So this is all just basically gone. If you're doing the 45s, Pike Moreau Chen would be fine. But against the 50, and it would work in the round 1 against the 50s, but the 51 and up, no good. Chen's not going to do anything for you there. Yeah, it might just really come back to going back to crit crew. You might just have to go back to crit officers. Gorkon and Lorca might have just gotten more valuable. All right, I like where we're going with this. So let's say we do that. That's no good. What if I put... Is that where I would put Paris then for the mitigation? Hmm. Which might not be the right crew for this ship. This might not be the right crew for this ship because I don't know what the Borg cube's weaponry is if it does kinetic damage. So hang on. Energy, energy. That's a kinetic torpedo. That's a kinetic torpedo. Okay, so it does have two of each. Okay. Everything we've been trying to work for, they just wiped out. For this particular mechanic, yes. For the rest of the game, no. But for this particular mechanic, yes, it obviously took a big hit. Let's do that. I gotta finish up his away team. It bothers me that it doesn't automatically just claim the assignment now. I have to go all the way back out. This is a bad change. If I speed up the assignment, I would just like to claim it and finish it. Thank you. I shouldn't have to go chasing down other screens to finish stuff. So we're going to take Kurla there for his ability, plus he gives the extra boost to Gorkon. You guys have some good crit going there. And then on the other side here, I need people with high stats. That's not either of you guys. And we're thinking maybe Mbenga for the mitigation. And shield regen, right? Okay. And you've got Sam, critical damage boost. And Jim does weapon damage boost. Officer health. So we need some health. Let's get some health below decks. You've got good health. And we'll take Nero as well. Screw it, take the Tribble. You know, this one doesn't get quite... Is that 200% weapon damage really doing a whole lot? I don't think so. I think I'm taking Khan here instead for crit. I want more criticals. Yeah, but I need Lorca too. Alright. Now you're doing... Now I'm wondering if 5011 is better than Mbenga. Hang on. Let's look. Alright, let's put Lorca in. Where he needs to be. Increases all mitigation. Well, that's not right. It's his base ability now. I've taken stuff away. So it's like 1500. %200 of total health versus... Okay, so I think Mbenga still is better. I think Mbenga is still better. So let's go with this for ship number 3. Now, the other thing that we can do is you can do a Titan buff if you want to. If you think you're going to need it. There's a mission there. So here's where your new waves are. Here's your level 45s. Here's your 50s. And here's your 60s. So if we just went in here to go try and defend against one of these, like I could bring my two biggest ships in. Bring in my Titan. I could throw a buff. I could throw a max fort if I wanted to, which people have had a lot of success with the max fortification. We're not going to do it for test 1. We'll throw that in, just do a regular buff. It's only going to affect 2 of my ships, but that'll be okay. And let me pull up my little chart. We'll slide this over so I'll put my people in the right positions. So I've got a battleship coming in there. I've got an explorer coming in there, and I've got an interceptor coming in there. They're going to start the closest in wave number 1, and then my guys will rotate around for wave number 2. So let's go ahead and start this up. I apologize if I'm not reading chat for the next few minutes. I'm just going to try and kill these things and do it right. Then we can analyze some battle logs, figure out what worked, what didn't work, what could work better. You go there and get him. You go there and get him. You go across the system and get him. Now again, I only have 3 that are allowed to get through. The first few guys don't seem to be all that troublesome. We're going to switch sides and put you there. Where's the battleship in wave 2? The battleships are on the right. So you guys are going to switch sides across the system. And you're going to go get that guy. You kill him. Oops. You got to go get him because he's closer. You got to go get that one. Yeah, we took some damage, but it's not terrible so far. The Sanctus is not gonna. The Sanctus is already dead. That's not good. Right. What's coming up next? Super close. You're close, and you're close. Let's see, they're spawning fairly close by. Now these things are over 1 billion. Yikes. They're also immune to the cutting beam from the Borg cube, by the way. And dead, and... oh, that guy lived. Okay. Let's go finish off that one. Maybe we get through this wave. We're going to let that guy go. I just have to kill one of these last 2 hostiles. We got that one. Okay, good. I guess we can try and kill this one. Oh, I didn't even see that guy over there. Good thing I did. I missed the guy on the bottom. Alright, we finished wave 3. Now we'll just let that guy go. And we'll see what happens. We got through 3 rounds. And we're dead. For our troubles, We did get a nice big chunk of multiple currencies though, and you can look at that and you can see what you get for each wave. If you look at the rewards, so for like this is the level 50 system. Wave one just gets you 300 credits. When you get to wave three is where you get the payout of all three of them. When you get through that, when you get to the last couple of waves, why? You can see if you finish the 50s, you're getting 13, 14, and 2800. Whereas fighting the 60s here, I actually got less by getting to wave three. So in this particular situation, while the event might require me to do the 60s to complete the event, if I can only get to wave three, I'm getting 1,000 of the new currency and then 1,200 and 2,300 of the old currencies. I might be better off finishing this because then I get 1,300 of the new currency. So I get 300 extra coins from the new one. So if I don't care so much about the events and just want the rewards, if I can get further by punching down, it might actually make sense. And if you go look at the 45s here, there are only 3 waves on the 45s. And it is just a smaller amount of currency. But again, it's designed for lower level players and not quite as taxing. All right. So for our troubles, we also completed a couple of events, it looks like. There was the alpha one because I got through wave one. That's the beta one for getting through wave two. This should be the gamma one for getting through wave three. Gan, what's up, buddy? Also got some wave defense points off that. And then for doing all my repairs, now we're going to get some of this stuff. Thank you very much for the resubscription. 36 months now. Very much appreciate that. And they do count as hostiles for your hostile hunt kills too. So I did get a nice little chunk of credits. I'm up to 6,300 of the access key. So yes, I could come down here now and pick up some of the shreds. But we're currently not sure if those are working right. Or if you just need to get one of them up higher. I don't know. Let's go look at a battle log. Maybe that'll give us some clues. I'm in the wrong spot. I want to be in my inbox. Okay, so let's look at this particular fight here. Right off the bat, the fight went 16 rounds. We're boosting our damage. We got Torres throwing us some hull breach. Hughes procking to throw us some criticals. We're throwing out some big numbers here. So even with it blocking a lot of these big numbers, with all the stats stacked, we're throwing out some big damage numbers still. Hang on a second. Let me go back and hit the info button here. Let's look at this thing for a second. It's got a lot of hull health. Good piercing stats. It's got a very low crit chance, 6.5%. That's a low crit chance. What's up, Ultra? And then we've got, these are its defense values. It's not really showing a lot of what's going on there. It has no base like Isolytic. All right. And then its actual ship abilities here. Increases all piercing, weapon damage, and apex barrier. Not playing nice. Yeah, no kidding. And then this is increasing its isolytic damage, isolytic defense, and lowers my crit damage every round. So that's the other thing that it does. So the longer the fight goes, the less my damage is going to be. So you see some of these big crits right here in round one. 240 base, 816 million isolytic in round one. Let's skip down a couple of rounds to round 9 here, and let's look for a crit. Hey, look at that crit, down to 48 and 154. Fight's going too long. You can see I'm just not hitting now I'm not hitting as hard as I once was. So it's definitely in your it's to your advantage to try and finish the fight as early as possible. Trying to do a longer fight where you're like with like a Pike Moro Chen where you're mitigating their damage and dragging the fight out longer, it's also going to slow you down as well because you're going to keep doing progressively less and less damage because we're looking at this right now here, these crits. I'm down to 50 and 160 on some of these big critical shots. And by the end of the fight, we're still in the same boat. So it must have hit its. I probably hit the floor, right? It lowered the crit damage as low as it could go before it hit my floor. That's also something that's going to vary for players and come into effect here. What's your crit damage floor? Because if your crit damage floor is high enough, you don't care about them lowering it because it can't go any lower. So that's another stat that could have a bit of an impact there. Silosh says that Shred does appear to be working. Okay. Because they're definitely doing a whole lot here. I mean, I took the shields down right away, but obviously it took a while to get through that 1 billion hull health that this thing has, even with some of these. Now, the other thing, too, again, people doing these waves, if you're using the Titan and getting that max fortification, now you're getting extra shots as well. So that's also going to speed things up for you. And that might be something you might have to do in the first couple of days to try to improve and make things more manageable for you. Where did I get that chart from? It's been posted in several discords. I know it's in Revs. It's from Jules and Sanguine Otter, and they pretty much cross posted it everywhere. It's in Rev's channel. I think it's on Lube's channel. DJ probably has a copy on his. I can put a copy on mine if it'll make it easier for you guys to just copy it. Copy. Let's go to Discord. If you're on my Discord, I don't want to do that. I'll just go ahead and throw that in the chat and questions. New solo wave chart. So you can save it to your desktop. You are very welcome. What's up, Tockley? Chef, you want to make buttons with them? There you go. I tell you what, I'll put it back up on screen for you. If any of you guys don't have Discord, there it is. I'll put it back up on screen. We'll kind of just center it, zoom in, just take a screenshot. I'll leave it there for 5 seconds and grab a drink of water. And again, top right hand corner, created by Sanguine Otter with data from Jules Verne. So kudos to those guys. Excellent job. The community appreciates all of your help. Couldn't do it without people like you because, of course, the people who make this game don't give you that information. What's up, Lloydson? What's up, Tockley? Welcome on in. Macard's wondering how far to take up the Metreon cask. Oh, take that one as far as you possibly can. Take that Forbidden Tech as high as it can go. All right. What happened with the Sanctus? Because the Sanctus did not live long. I mean, obviously, I know it's getting overpowered here. But the Sanctus did not do so good. Well, it was already a third of the way dead. That probably didn't help. And the fight went 15 rounds, which probably also did not help. Because I'm sure by the end of that fight, I'm probably not hitting very hard either, am I? Obviously, I'm doing nice hull repairs. Keep going with that. Anything that gives you hull repair is going to be helpful. And that's going to come back to what we were talking about earlier with using your Nova Squad research to get some of your extra mitigation, your shield repair, crit, just all of this stuff that you've been working on in your star path for a while. It's going to be very helpful. All right, so we're going to repair the other ship. Now, let's try this again. And now we're going to do a little bit of shred. So what do we got here? We've got acute shred here boosts for so they boost for the class of ship that you're attacking with. So one helps your interceptors, one helps your explorers, one helps your battleships. I would like to help my explorer, which is my enterprise. That would be the traceless shred. We're going to take that to level 1. There's a quick 40% boost to that. And I'm going to take it to... should I take it up again? The same one? Or should I split it and get it for all of them? Alright, let's get it for all of them first. We'll get level 1 for each of them first. I feel like that's probably the safer thing to do. Get that 40% kicked in on all 3 ships. And then we can go from there. And now I just need to get another 700 and I can take one of them up to level 2. It's going from 40 to 55, 15% increase versus having just a flat 40% across the board. I like that better. Booty, thank you for resubscribing. And Icewell, thank you for the 100 bits. And it looks like you guys started a hype train. Well, that's fun. All right. So let's repair these guys. And we're going to try one again. And again, I'm not going to boost. We're just using the Apex Shred. And we're going to see what kind of a difference this particular fight might make. Let's go ahead and... You know what? I'm just throwing up a 3-day shield for right now because the way this game's kind of going, who knows what's going to happen. PJ, thank you for the 100 bits. All right, so we're going to try it one more time. Go back to the same system. We made it through wave number 3 last time. And we're going to bring in the Titan again. This time we're going to do... we're not going to do max fort. Let's do regular fort again. Again, keeping it similar for our test. This is what I did last time. So the only difference is this time around is that I have Apex Barrier. And forgive me again for not watching the chat. I need to make sure I've got the graphics up. Battleships are over here. The cube needs to be down there. And you need to be over there. And let's start this up and let's see what happens. Go get the battleship. Go get the explorer. Go get the interceptor. Just so we can have some data points to compare. You going that way. I'll switch sides. See, these guys are spawning a little closer. And just in case you didn't hear me earlier because you arrived late, these things are immune to the board cutting beam. So don't even waste your time on that one. See right there, immune. All right, Sanctus is still dead. And the board cube is pretty jacked up too. Wow. My cube is going to die already too. That seems different from last time around. I don't remember changing any officers or anything. Maybe we can still make it through at least this wave. I just have to kill 2 of these. Alright, so we're going to get through at least wave 3 again. Although my other ships died faster. Now the question is what do I have left? These are 65s. Yikes. Alright, well, just because I'm curious. Let's see what happens. And we didn't even kill this one. Okay. So again, we'll take our limited amount of currency for getting through wave 3. That also finished up my wave defense pass. Nice. Now, does my wave defense pass have any additional rewards in it? It does have 1 extra cipher pull. Okay. So I could run 1 more if I wanted to. Did I switch up target? I don't think so. I think I was pretty much staying within triangle. I didn't do max fort last time either. I just did regular fortification last time. So this was all exactly sort of the same test run. But somewhere along the way, the cube took... Let's see, there's the Sanctus going down pretty hard. Already in round 2 here. All right, let's go back and compare battle logs to see just exactly what kind of a benefit. So here's the cube hitting within the triangle up against one of the level 60 Ferengi plunderers. Fight went 13 rounds. Now we come back up here to the cube hitting a level 60 plunderer. Level 60 plunderer. Fight went 11 rounds. So we finished it a little bit faster. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot faster. And if I take a look at going back to before, take my Enterprise against one of the 61s. Let's find the one within the triangle. There we go. Working with the triangle, didn't take a whole lot of damage. 16 rounds again. But if we come back to now that I have the Apex Shred, down to 11 rounds. So it did save me a few rounds. And let's do some screenshots here. And let's just try and compare side by side some damage here. So this is with the shred. Let's go back to that other one from before. So there's a big critical. That looks to be about the same. The isolytic is kind of about the same. Apex barrier looks to be about the same. Yeah, I mean, if I put these two numbers side by side here, I don't see a lot of difference between them. There's a little bit more damage coming through, but not a whole lot. But yet the fight ends 5 rounds sooner. Because I guess it's just cumulative enough of effect, right? A little bit more damage each round progressively. The shields go down a little bit faster. Let's go back up. We get to some of these later rounds. I'm still hitting pretty hard here. I mean, it's still mitigating a big chunk of it with this apex barrier. Still blocking a big chunk of that damage with that apex barrier. So it's not like a dramatic effect, but it is at least a noticeable one. Jonathan, you can't get the wave to count from the mission. I, I don't know. You might have to finish the whole wave. I don't know. I don't know if it's not just like complete one section of a wave. It might be like finish the whole thing. I think people were saying that that's what they had to do. Like if you didn't make it through round 5, it didn't count. Does PMC work on the 50s? The 45s, yes. The 50s, yes. The 51s, no. So partway through the wave, when it goes from 50 to 51, and then 55, in terms of like the level of the hostiles, PMC would stop working, which would also not be good for you. The storyline mission is just to complete the 45s. Okay. Well, I haven't done any of the missions yet, so. Brett, you're also lob 62. Seems like the level 65s and wave number 4 are way out of our class, even with maxed out G5 epics. Yeah, these guys seem like it's going to be one heck of a fight. Now, obviously, I was already pretty banged up by the time I got to this point, but I did make it 12 rounds. It does seem like it's definitely going to be a bit of an uphill fight at this point. And again, you're kind of pushing the limits, right? Wave 3 seems reasonable. You know, if you're trying talking about these higher level waves, they're designed for players a little bigger than just small entry level G6 players, which is where I am. Players who have a G6 on common might get a little further. I think Lube had a G6 rare. If he's high enough level, he's got that, right? Because he finished his. And I'm pretty sure it was his G6 rare that was just kicking everything and killing everybody else, pretty hard. So I'm pretty sure he's high enough to do that. Lube is 67, so yes, he should definitely have one of those ships. And that should be beneficial to him as well. Denver Stone says that your G6 rare, which is only tier 4, can pretty much kill everything. Okay. That would make sense. Kind of a beast of a ship, so. I feel like that's kind of where the power curve on these is. Like they're designed for mid, whatever the range is, it's designed for the mid level of that bracket. 45's gonna be a little challenging if you're 45, if you're just 45. If you're 46, it might get a little, a new ship class. you should have a little bit more success. Um, if you are, and when you get to 50 and, you have that new ship class again, those waves should get easier. When you're just getting into the 50s, you're going to be struggling a little bit. You get a 53 uncommon, okay, now you can fight these things a little harder. You get a 56 rare, you should be cleaning through these things a lot better. That's not surprising. What do we got here? We got a mission. All right, let's go do that. So there's some basic level stuff. Yeah, I don't care. Now we did get a little bit of extra currency here. So I can come in here and I can buy another favor. The Enterprise is doing the heavy lifting. So I feel like that's the shred that I should improve on. My traceless shred. I feel like I should improve on that one. Get that up another little bit more. Finish that fight a little faster, take a little bit less damage. Blah 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 blah. Oh, I gotta kill something. Okay. Do I have to do a 60 plus waves as an op 60? For the events, I had to. To do these events, I had to kill level 60 plus stuff. And when we looked at the math, like potentially, if I want to get more credits and more currency, so I can get more of the favors and stuff done, like by finishing the 50s, we're talking about I'm going to get more currency, which is what we're going to do. We're going to drop down. I'm going to do a 50 because I think I'm going to come up with way more currency from doing that than just limping my way through the third wave of the higher level ones. So as soon as I'm done repairing here, that's what we're going to do next. And for fighting those, I am not going to buff. I'm not going to bother. We're going to skip the Titan altogether. And we're just going to punch down. Because I don't think anything else in here specifically requires me to do anything. That's a different event. We did the wave defense events. Nothing here with like the arc events or anything. This is the heroic one for the officers. And nothing else in here really mattered. And then even for the season pass, this is just complete any wave. So that one also doesn't care which level of wave I do. So let's go ahead and drop down. Let's go ahead and drop down and let's do a 50. And let me just pull my trusty map back up so I know where I'm going. It shouldn't matter as much this time around. Let's fire it up. 1, 2, 3. And these fights, I'm predicting, are going to go a lot better. I might not even be as concerned about the triangle in some of the earlier rounds either, but I do just want to get used and accustomed to the pattern of what I have to do in moving things. You go that way. A lot of zigzagging. A lot of zigzagging. Wave 3. I need the battleship there. I need the Enterprise there. I need the Sanctus there. Good time to get stuck in combat. All right, wave 4. We haven't done this one yet. That guy spawned real close. Wave 5, I'm going to need a battleship down here. Enterprise there, and the Sanctus over here. Nope, nope, nope. Wrong spot. Sanctus, go get that guy. You get that guy. These guys are fast. Sanctus might not make it through that fight. Nope, it didn't. But we did manage to win, and that's the important part. We killed everything. Okay, and for doing so, 3,700 of the new currency, so way more. It's going to help me get more of the favors and stuff done, as well as some of these older credits, which might also help me backfill some of the other favors that I've been missing. Do we know what the issue was that delayed the start of the arc? No idea. No clue. What's up, Tarpy? Berlin Wall, you managed to almost finish at Ops 50. Okay, good job there. Do I not have extended zoom? No, I don't think so. You don't like how they spawn toward the middle of the system? It's the challenging thing. You have to be in the right position. You got to know where you're going. You got to follow the map. Know where you're supposed to be. Otherwise, it is not going to be good. But some of these other favors, like hull health while in wave defense, Operation Hephaestus, could be a good one to work on. for your mitigation stats. Also, yo-yo dying, which boosts your impulse speed in wave defense. Could be helpful to get a little bit of a boost there so you can move around because you do have to do a lot of zigzagging in these. And then we're going to pick up another level here of Apex Shred. We're going to do the battleship one. Fierce. Because the cube seems to be doing okay. If I get a little bit of a boost, maybe we'll make it a little further. So my Enterprise D is only 1.8 billion power. It's tier 9. I don't remember. 9 3/4. What am I at here? 9 2/3. So if anybody who came in late, I went with the standard Pike Moreau E data crew with all of my traditional below deck officers, doing all my abilities, repairing damage, mitigating isolytic, hitting all my statuses, having a little extra impulse speed to move around a little faster. On ship 2, we went with more of a mitigation, hull breach, critical kind of crew. And I didn't have anybody else for lower deck slots, so we just stacked stats that would work with officer health to give him a bigger mitigation benefit. Didn't really seem to make a whole lot of a difference. And then on the cube for ship 3, again, more of a critical hull breach. I did leave Curon on there so I'd have a little more impulse speed. Don't know that I necessarily need him there, though. Could probably do something better there. And then below deck, we've got whatever her name is, I forget, that gives the crit below deck, as well as burning, and then some Apex Barrier from Laliari, and Tom Paris for some extra mitigation. So that's what we went with. We could just barely squeak through wave 3 of the level 60s and kind of steamrolled right through the level 50s pretty convincingly. So now that we've tested it, we've run through some things. What are you guys thinking? What are you feeling? Is there anybody still have any questions about how this mechanic works? Or you just want to leave some comments?